Hey there, I'm Michelle.
I'm Jim, and we are
A
A
Teague
Teague
of
of
your
Your Own.
own. Welcome to another Motivational Monday.
Let's get motivated.
Woohoo!
Woo!
Yay! It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's every day's a beautiful day,
Of course it is. Uh,
except for the days it rains.
and it rained on Saturday.
It did rain on
Yeah.
Saturday.
But yesterday was Sunday and it was Mother's Day.
Yes.
And it did not rain on Mother's Day.
Nope.
It was beautiful out.
Yep.
Got to go to the park
Yep.
and go for a walk
Mhm.
and take Molly to the dog park, and
We did.
we had a good time.
She played around with a dog named Diesel.
Yes.
Diesel was very nice.
Diesel's a good baby.
Yes.
And uh, start thinking about important people in our lives, like moms and dads,
Right.
and mentors and coaches and all those kinds of people.
Right. Because it was Mother's Day this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this evening we have our complimentary webinar.
Yes.
At 8 o'clock tonight, Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Pacific, and it's on business coaching and the value of business coaching. And I thought about how important it is to have business coach in your life, just like it's important to have somebody like your parents in your life,
Right.
or have a mentor.
Because let's face it, the first coach in your life was your mom. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to coaching, why do some people need a coach?
Because they need somebody to hold them accountable.
Yeah. Yeah. And what else?
To act as a guide,
Okay.
to help them in putting their thoughts together to figure out what it is they need to do, that the coach helps with being able to pull that together.
Okay.
Because let's face it, the answers are actually in all of us.
They're
in.
Yeah.
So the coach can't give us the answers.
No.
The coach can only help guide us to the correct answers, and to what it is that we need to do, and to help you determine what that path is, what your next step is, where you need to go. That's what coaches do. I mean, you think about a coach in sports.
Yep.
The coach doesn't play the game.
No.
Matter of fact, I see a lot of coaches get very frustrated because they wish they could be out there playing the game, because they probably do a better job than some of their players.
Yeah.
But they are there to guide the team, to point the direction, to call the plays. But it's the players that have to execute. Same thing with business coaching. The business coach is there to help you in determining that path, but you still have to execute.
Yes. Yes, you
and
do.
That's the key to it.
Yeah. And if you ask some coaches, they're all for the execution of their team.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, I think, John McKay with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers many, many years ago, when they started the franchise with 26 consecutive losses. And he was asked that one day, what do you think about your team's execution? And he said, I'm all in favor of it.
So, and I want you to think about that. He was a coach who had lost 26
straight games. That was back when the season was only 14 games. They lost the first 14 in their first season, and then the first 12 of all 14 in the first season and the first 12 of the second season, before they finally broke through and got a win.
If that had happened today, do you think he would have had that much leeway?
No. He would have been fired very quickly.
Yeah.
I say that it would depend on which city. If you were in a football starved city that had waited, I mean, if someplace like an expansion team in Memphis, Tennessee, or Orlando, Florida, or Utah, or San Antonio, someplace like that, there they might give them some slack. It would also depend on how they set the teams up for their initial draft. It's one of the things I remember when, I guess at this point, they're my two favorite teams. And this will be a shock to some people who live in the area where we live. I'm not a Steelers fan because I'm not from here originally. And my two teams are the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Carolina, because I'm from the Carolinas, and so that was a team that I really went with. I was an Oakland Raiders fan before that.
Yes, you were.
Well, I think they were back in Oakland by that time. But when Carolina and Jacksonville came on board, I was like, yep, Carolina all the way.
Mhm.
Had season tickets first season, but Jacksonville, they've really come to
No,
mean a lot to me these days.
it's because they have your quarterback.
Right, they got my quarterback and they got my running back, so
Yeah.
they got that Clemson connection, and they're close to where my family lives.
Yeah.
So, but when they came on board, they were given a draft that was very generous, to say
Yes,
the
they were.
least. That's why the Panthers, they finished their first season. It was a 16-game season. They finished 7-9. That's the all-time record for a new franchise. And they went 12-4 the next season, made it to the conference championship. The Jaguars made it to their conference championship the second year as well. They didn't do as well in the first season, but they did enough to make it in the playoffs.
And what's interesting is the approach that
it was very different.
the teams both
Carolina
the coaches took.
Yeah, Carolina went with a lot of veterans, and that's why they fell apart really after those first two seasons.
Yes, they did.
Jacksonville went with more of a youth movement, and they had a little more longevity, but in the interim, Carolina's made it to the Super Bowl twice. They haven't won it yet. Jacksonville hasn't made it there yet, so we'll see. Things are looking good for both franchises, and they both have good coaches.
They do.
They both have very good coaches. Jacksonville's coach, was it Doug Peterson?
I think so.
I think that's his name. I know it's Peterson. He was the coach when the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl a few years ago. He's the right guy. Jacksonville made it to the playoffs this past season. They won in the first round in the playoffs. They're moving in the right direction. Carolina, they brought in Frank Reich, who was their original quarterback. Most people don't know that. They think of him with the Buffalo Bills. He was their original quarterback during that first season before Kerry Collins.
I was going to say, most people think of Kerry Collins.
Kerry Collins took over. I think Frank was the quarterback for 3 games, and they brought in Kerry Collins. I believe it was in game 4, and then that was it. He was the starting quarterback after that. But they've got high quality coaches, and they are building the teams the right way. Both franchises. It's amazing they're doing it at the same exact. And now Carolina seems to have their franchise quarterback of the future. Jacksonville's got theirs. But even with all of that talent, it still takes good coaching to put it together. And same thing with business. Same thing with business. You need good coaches, even if you got a fantastic team.
Yeah.
You still need good coaches to help guide you.
And part of it is usually when you bring in a business coach from somebody outside of your organization.
Right.
And part of that is because they're not going to be entrenched in what's going on.
Right.
They're going to have a very different perspective. They're going to be very objective about what's going on.
It's amazing when you bring people in from outside, everybody else in the organization, for some crazy reason, they pay attention to them. They listen. They might be saying these same exact things that their leadership team is saying, but because they're from outside and for whatever crazy reason, people give them instant credibility. You're an instant expert. Yeah. They listen to them. But it happens everywhere. We were just talking the other night with somebody from a local school, the high school, and she was saying that they try to bring in people to do different programs because we're talking about doing some programs at one of the local high schools, and she was saying it's amazing how the kids, same thing,
they'll pay attention.
Teachers can tell them tons of things. They bring in somebody from the outside, tells them the same exact thing. And they'll buy it from the outsider, whereas they won't necessarily buy it from their teachers. Yeah.
When I was a contract trainer, people would bring me in, and I would meet with them ahead of time and say, "All right, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Why are you bringing me in? Tell me what you've been telling them." And then literally, I would stand up in front of the group and say the exact same phrases, the exact same words, and the light bulbs would all go off, and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh,
it's so profound!
That's a great idea. We should be doing that. Why didn't we think of that sooner?"
Because you needed me to come in, right?
Exactly.
You needed you to come in to be able to tell them.
So,
happens all the time.
But the reality is, when you're working with a coach, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Is coaches come in, they work with you, and they draw out what you already know. They draw out that information, and the light bulb goes off, and you're just like, oh my gosh, you're right. I should be doing this.
Yeah.
And that's the way it works.
Yeah.
That's the cool part. So if somebody wanted to work with a coach, who could they work with?
Us?
They could. They could.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
And how could they get in contact?
Oh, there's several different ways they can get in contact with us. You can send us an email, info@aleagueofyourown.com. You can give us a phone call, 412-420-7975. You can contact us through Facebook.
Yes.
Through LinkedIn.
Yes.
Through Instagram.
Yes.
Right? We also have a YouTube channel.
Yes. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We'd love for you to go subscribe to our YouTube channel. That doesn't mean you got to watch all of the videos. Any of it, if you don't want to. But subscribe, just because we need the subscribers. We appreciate it. What else? Did I miss anything?
No. And
did I get them all?
Register for the free webinar this evening and find out more about business coaching.
Yeah.
Find out more about us and how we can help you in that area. We'll be more than happy to talk about it and to help you grow. That's what we do, is we help people grow from where they are to where they want to be.
Yep.
So check out what we can do for you. Sign up for the complimentary webinar this evening. You can find the link on Facebook. You can find the link on LinkedIn. You can also find the link on our website. If you go to the events tab, you'll find the link there.
Yep.
Yeah. Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Good deal. All right, people, get on it. You've got your
walking orders.
Yep. So all you gotta do is go do it. All right. Well, if that's the case, we will see you next week. Have a fabulous week and join us tonight for our webinar.
All right.
See you later.